Anytime. What's up, horror fans? Pete here from the Lassercast, where me and my good friend Danny over there discuss horror movies and streaming shows. I'm coming to you live from my car, where I usually do my Pete on the Street questions. It is early Sunday morning. It is time for us to talk about Alien Earth, episode 7. And we have my good friend Brian down there, who's from my other channel, Comic Books Transformed, that hot man down there. And he's going to start us off by saying how he felt about the most recent episode.
Oh man, you start with me. I don't know. I think this one maybe took a slight dip for me. I don't know. I it I was talking to my dad about it yesterday actually, and he said something about it feeling really like a TV show, and I can't get that out of my head since he said
Okay.
it. I don't know, maybe it was the sets, maybe it was just kind of lower budgets of a TV show kind of showing. I don't know. But I'm still excited for the finale and all. And I think possibly my favorite line in the entire show happened in this episode. So
What's that line?
Nibs at the very end.
Oh, what did she say when she rips that fucking guy's jaw off? What did she say?
She says, "Mr. Starbury says fuck off" or something.
Oh, nice.
But the
Yeah, she's got that weird.
fantastic. And the second she came along, she was going along with them. I'm like, oh, she's coming along because she's gonna flip out and kill somebody.
You predicted it. She had that weird fucking like bird stuffy.
Yeah,
That plush bird thing. I don't even know what the hell that was. But Danny, that kind of reminds me of a little plushy thing that you have now.
Yeah. Yesterday, not to go off on like too much of a detour, but yesterday I went to Brooklyn Horror Society. They are an amazing organization in Brooklyn that curate horror events. They do movie nights and trivia at Lucky 13 on Sackett Street and 4th Avenue in Brooklyn. If you live in Brooklyn, New York, you know where I'm talking about. And they do all these like awesome events, and they did an event at Miss and Sen at in Industry City, which is another super cool location. So I stopped by yesterday, and it basically was like a flea market. Different vendors were there, and I met a woman named Kendra Donahue who makes these like crocheted, knitted, stuffed animals. She had, Pete, you would have flipped out. She had an incredible, like accurate size eraser head baby, like
Oh
that she had
God.
crocheted.
Right.
Yeah, and somebody right in front of me bought it and was like the most excited I've ever seen somebody to buy anything. But then I was really excited because she actually made the eyeball monster from Alien Earth. So yeah, her name was Kendra Donahue. I wanted to shout her out. This is incredible. I'm so glad I was able to grab that. I also got a Christmas ornament from her. Also, she'd made like handmade Christmas ornaments, but it was just a really cool thing. So you can follow Brooklyn Horror Society on Instagram at Brooklyn Horror Society. They're awesome. What's the matter with the cats over there? Now I'm nervous about the cats with the eyeball monster. I will say, to Brian's point, I think I messaged both of you when the episode ended, and I compared this to Harry Potter and like the Half Blood Prince or Deathly Hallows Part 1. And what I meant by that is this episode to me reeked of penultimate episode syndrome, where they basically they give you a whole bunch of cool stuff, but they're just saving it all for that awesome last episode. And so what we're stuck with is kind of getting through this episode to get to the finale. And I feel like this is a trope. I feel like this is a trope that happens a lot in TV. Pete, we talked about this a lot with Yellow Jackets, I feel, where like we'll get like the filler episodes, and then we'll get like, okay, it's episode season. Oh boy, here we go. It's like, a lot of setup and not a lot of, cool stuff. This episode gave us some really cool stuff. But when the episode ended, I didn't feel about this episode the way I felt about other episodes. And maybe it was the setting. I spent like a lot of time this season like wanting to get out onto the island. And then once they got out onto the island, I kind of felt like, oh, I prefer if they were more, because I feel like the Alien franchise is better when it's more claustrophobic and like
Absolutely.
being in the tight hallways of a spaceship where there's only one direction you could possibly run in. You got to shut those doors behind you. It just works so much better for the Alien franchise than being out on a beach with like soldiers rising out of the water. That it just for a minute it felt more GI Joe than Alien. And granted, we got some really cool alien stuff. The xenomorph going wild was fun. You know, I think one of you guys or both of you guys hinted at like the pet xenomorph thing, which is really really cool. But it just didn't feel as awesome as the previous episodes. And that said, penultimate episode syndrome. I'm really excited for the finale.
So you're saying that this episode kind of gave you alien blue balls?
You usually save that for the end. I guess in a way. I mean, we did get some cool alien violence. We got that amazing Nibs moment where she rips a person's jaw off. But we got Arthur awakening, coming back, waking up, and then obviously the alien coming out of him.
Yeah.
I love where it's going. I love the interactions between Morrow and Kirsch, and I love them like outsmarting each other, and now they have Morrow captured, and it almost feels like a Watchman, like you didn't lock me in here, you're locked in here with me, kind of moment where Morrow's gonna like flip out in the finale. So yeah, like there's so many cool story threads that I'm excited about for next week, but I just felt like it was a little bit to the detriment of this episode of television as a whole. I don't think it was a bad episode. Again, I don't think there's been a bad episode of the show, but there
Right.
has been amazing episodes of the show, and then there's been good episodes of the show. And when you hit really high highs, the low highs feel much lower.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty astute observation. For me, this episode really stood out because of Arthur's death. I made a little thumbnail for this episode already before we started recording, and I put like worst death since Alien 3, right? Now, when it comes to Alien 3, I actually don't really like Alien 3. I think I've only seen it like once or twice tops, right? I just couldn't really get over how grim it was and like how the fates of Newt and Hicks after Aliens, just too upsetting. I know there's a lot of Alien fans that are like that. Now, I mean, there's been many movies with the xenomorph since then, but I feel like Arthur's death in this episode was maybe the most upsetting death. Like when I think of deaths in the Alien movies, you really connect with the cast in both Alien and Aliens. So you feel really bad when some of them die in the first two movies. But I feel like Alien 3 has like truly the gut punch kind of deaths where you're like, oh, these people are dead and they died in this kind of brutal way. So, I mean, like to me, Arthur's death, that whole scene really like stood out. And that was the highlight of the episode. Brian, like, what about you? What'd you think about that whole sequence?
Yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights of the episode. I mean, you obviously knew it was coming because he had the face hugger on his face there. You don't always get to see them kind of lucid afterwards, but in this case, you did. And it was just really tugging at your heartstrings because they, he eventually realizes what is going on with Slightly and what's the other guy's name?
Smee.
And he's just like, hey, like, I can tell you guys are stressed out. I want to help you guys. Let's just go back. And it's like, oh God, he's just trying to be like the goodest guy possible, and he's just doomed. And it was really well written scene to me.
Yeah, That actor, I don't know what I've seen him in, but I feel like I've seen him in at least one other thing. And there's something about his like mannerism and the tone of his voice, where his voice is so like soothing and kind of like high pitched. Like the way he talks, you know, you just kind of feel like, oh, this is a good person. This is a
Yeah.
compassionate person. And like that sequence when they're on the beach and he says to them, he's like, you know, you haven't learned how to lie yet, you know, but like, let's go resolve this together. That sequence to me, that's like, oh, that's why it's good that Noah Hawley made this show. We're seeing Noah Hawley's talents because he's able to make this like kind of prolonged sequence where everyone's sitting there thinking, oh, he's about to go like this. And then
Yeah.
the thing's gonna fucking burst out of his chest. But you're sitting there like feeling for him, and you're like, oh, he's actually changing their minds. Because the part that really stands out in that sequence is that he convinces Smee to go back with him, and they go, but then also slightly like, you know, he turns around and joins him too. So even though he's worried about his mom getting killed, he still is like, you know, I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go make this right. I just thought it was a really fucking good scene, and it was like so upsetting when he finally had that motion where his eyes kind of went big and he went like this. You know, Danny, what do you think about the whole sequence?
I I thought it was a good sequence, and I think it highlights. You know, we've talked a lot about the Lost Boys, but like the acting is really really good for those actors. Jonathan Ajayi plays Smee, and Adarsh Goran, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I'm reading off my paper. Plays Slightly, and I think it's important to shout them out just because, like, again, these are adults who are portraying children, and I thought they had their reaction to everything that happened was so well done. You know, Slightly, who's been under like immense amounts of like stress. Imagine like a 13-year-old, a 12-year-old who is being blackmailed with like the potential death of his mother by a big scary man, and you know, he's acting that out, and the emotion on his face, and Smee, who he has no idea what's going on. He's kind of along for the ride, and he's like, all right, well, if you're telling me he's going to be okay, you know, I'm 12, I believe you. I don't know that you're just lying to get. And then like his first reaction is, after Arthur dies, was like, why did you lie to me? You said he would be okay. And I thought that was like so well done, because like you really instantly are like, oh yeah, they're 12. Like
Right.
they're adult actors, but they're really, the characters are 12 years old, and you're like, oh shit. Like, and then like Nibs at the end, I thought she did a really good job of like acting very childlike and reacting in a way that a child would. So I thought this was a great episode for the acting for the Lost Boy characters, especially.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and that scene was, you know, we all knew it was going to happen. Like it wasn't shocking, but it was. I think they did a great job of like, you thought it was going to happen here. Oh, okay, it's not happening. Oh, it happened here, and like so, it kind of dragged you along for a little bit before, like you said, the eyeballs bulge and the chest
Yeah.
explodes.
Yeah, yeah. Let's keep going with the idea of like the Lost Boy actors being great. Like we have that scene with Nibs where she kind of just flips out and loses it. That was actually really tense too, I thought, because they like can't kill her because she's this valuable merchandise. So that they keep pointing their guns at her, but they're like they can't shoot because they don't want to ruin this like billions of dollar investment. But then at one point, fucking Wendy's brother, he just like zaps her, right? And it feels like she's dead. I don't think she's dead though. Brian, do you think that she's dead or
No,
not?
that was that same like stun gun that like Morrow used on the alien in the beginning. So I think she's just knocked out, like a quick
Okay.
little synth nap, I guess.
There you go. Nice, yeah. I just love watching them fucking fights, like the hybrids. I love watching them fight the soldiers. Like they're just flipping people around, and you could tell it really fucking hurts. Some of the things that they do to the people too. I don't know. I think I might have liked this episode more than you guys. Like, what else did you guys have issues with, or actually really enjoyed this episode?
In terms of issues, I think Danny really hit on the nail on the head with the outdoor spaces. Like he also said, I was expecting and waiting to see something outside this compound, but once you got outside, it's like I think the Alien series just really excels in those tight spaces. So I think that was part of it. Something I also liked was the scene with Boy Cavalier and that rich dude, the bald dude, where they're just figuring out that the sheep guy caused Isaac to die, essentially. And then I'm assuming, I mean, he wants to implant it in another host. I'm assuming, actually, let me just ask you guys, who do you think he intends to implant the eyeball into?
I think, I think with like the language of film, the implication is that it's the brother. He wants to implant it in the brother, because the very next shot is like that scene ends with him saying, "I know just the person," and then the next shot is the brother on the beach. But I might be wrong.
No, I agree. That's exactly what I thought.
Danny, what about you?
So if we're just talking about like who are the humans on the island, then it's basically the brother or Essie Davis's character, the wife of the doctor, and he seemed to be like way up in her face about like the fact that her husband was basically sabotaging the compound before he was leaving. I went a little different. Now, yes, the way it's shot makes you think obviously the brother would be the target, which would lead to an amazing sequence where Eyeball Brother fights Xenomorph controlled by the sister. So that would work. But Boy Cavalier is such a fucking like annoying and arrogant character that my first thought when he was like, I have the perfect person, was Yutani. I was like, he's going to try to like, oh, here you go. You want your specimens back? Come on in. I'll give you your specimens. Here's one now. What are you talking about? That's just a sheep. Like that was, so like my mind went there. You guys are, I would say 90% chance that you guys are right, that it's probably going, or that he's going to try to get the brother infected or taken over by the eyeball monster, and that's what's going to lead Wendy, Sydney Chandler's character, to like turn on him and unleash the xenomorph on him.
Yeah, I think she already has turned on them. I mean, Wendy has already turned on Boy Cavalier in that compound. She's fully ready to get the hell out of there, and I think she just has no remorse about it. I don't necessarily think that the brother is going to get the eyeball. I just thought that was Boy Cavalier's intention for it. But I really like your idea of it being Essie Davis. Is her name Dame?
I think so.
Name? It's an interesting name. But yeah, I feel like I still am hoping that the eyeball ends up in Boy Cavalier as like karma, But I also do like the idea of Essie Davis.
I saw a still shot from the next episode, which was like, I thought it was like a really big spoiler. Do you guys want me to tell you? Because it involves Boy Cavalier. Do y'all want me to tell you or no?
Sure, why not?
No? Okay. Wait. Danny's shaking his head. Is that a yes or a no?
I don't know.
All right, I'll err on the side of caution too. Let's.
How about this? How about let's not do it, and then you could just text Brian right as soon as we're done recording. You just text Brian and tell him what it is.
Got it. Okay. So like this whole conversation though brings up a point that I really wanted to discuss, which is it's weird how like super efficient they are with these aliens, including the xenomorph. They're like either super efficient with them or they're ridiculously incompetent with them, right? Like you got the chest burster running around on the island, like looking like a little snake, and then all of a sudden a net drops on it, and then then we find out that Kirsch and his team captured it. Like they do things in this show that like were very challenging for people to do in the movies. But then there are also moments where people do things where it's like, oh come on, why did you do that? Like that was not smart. So it's kind of inconsistent. Like they're able to like capture, kill, do things with the xenomorph, do things with these other creatures, but then also like they make these little mistakes and it's like, okay, these people are dead. Like, do you guys feel that way, or have you guys thought that at all?
Uh, yeah, but at the same time, if it's this is a horror show, and if you don't have people doing stupid shit, you don't have a horror movie. You know?
It's fair.
Correct. Yeah.
I also love, and that may be my favorite part of this episode was it. While yes, there are tons of like stupid stuff and like hey, let's even Boy Cavalier like walks into the lab when the fly is still out, and but like I think again that goes to his arrogance as like a character of like, oh, nothing could possibly happen to me. I'm worth hundreds of trillions of dollars. I do the it all feels like this is all part of Kirsch's grand plan. That moment when Kirsch catches Slightly and Smee, and they're like, "Oh, we don't know," and he's like, "When I said what are you doing, I meant you should go this way. Like this will get you to the beach faster. Go ahead." And he's like, "He's gonna kill my mom." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Like I've been listening the whole time," and
Yeah.
he's just so cool about it. He's like got like a mix of like Ash from the first Alien, but then like all the cool traits of like Bishop, and you don't know if he's going to end up being a good cyborg or an evil cyborg, and you're just like, I feel like I'm along for the ride with Kirsch. So I kind of like to Brian's point, yes, they have to kind of make stupid decisions, but then I think some of those stupid decisions are like pre-planned by Kirsch. Like he was purposely ignoring certain things, and he knew that Toodles had gotten killed and didn't say anything to Boy Cavalier. So uh, there's definitely methods to the madness, I guess.
Yeah. Well, like we talked about this last time we did a recording. It's like, well, what is his end game? Like, what's he trying to do? And this episode, it makes it seem like he wants them to take the xenomorph out of the building, but then they capture the xenomorph that bursts out of the guy's chest. You know what I'm saying? It's like he helps them get it out of the building, but then he brings it back into the building. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
What do you think, Brian?
The only thing it could be is that he was using that to make Morrow think he had the upper hand so they can capture them. But I don't understand why they would want to capture them necessarily. You know? That's the one thing I don't get. Like, well, how does that fit into whatever Kirsch is planning here? Because he's clearly letting things run wild in a way, in some kind of controlled chaos. But
yeah,
what does he actually need Morrow for?
Oh, that is
hard. They could have just kept Arthur there at that moment, and that would have been it. They would have had the alien. They could have contained it, and that would have been it.
Yeah, that is a really wow. I didn't even think of that, Brian. That's a really good point. It has to be that, right? Because like they're essentially like giving the bait. They're like, here, come here. Tomorrow, and his team, the team goes there, and then they're able to capture them. That's probably what it is. I think that makes it seem like, well, holy shit, I'm in a parking lot. This dude was like driving right at me for a second. Anyway, no. Like to me, it makes it seem like Kirsch's main motivation might be this sort of like rivalry between him and Morrow. That like, and maybe that motivation goes back to their allegiance to their corporations, right? Because Morrow is all about Weyland-Yutani, and then maybe Kirsch is actually legitimately about what are they called? Prodigy. Yeah. What do you think, Danny? Give your 2 cents.
I don't know. I think it could be. Again, we're talking about like with Kirsch, he's a cyborg, so it's like
No, he's an android.
Yeah, that's what I meant. He's an android, so it's like, does he have like the normal human emotion of like wanting to one up somebody? Because that is what it seems like. He carefully laid out a plan to capture Morrow. is he doing that because it's company directive, or is he doing that because they've had interactions on this show? The great elevator scene, I think that was last week, episode 5 or episode 6 rather. And is this just like a human competition between two characters that are combined barely human anymore? uh
Right.
and that's again, it's one of the things that this episode did is it set up something intriguing that I want to see in the finale. I'm not sure if I love the way they set it up. I think Brian pointed out there's some kind of weird, almost plot holes that you can kind of pick at. But I'm really intrigued about how it's going to wrap up next week. So, is it the journey or the destination? Like, for me right now, the journey's been good. It's gotten a little bumpy, but I'm still excited for the destination.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think there's plot holes, but just things we haven't answered yet. So I'm still on a high on the show, and I'm excited.
Let
Yeah.
me not use plot holes. I'll use Chris's term, like the nitpicks. You know, the little. So yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, Brian, that you say that you're really digging the show and it's like one of your favorites. Like we always do our end of the year special. Me and Danny, we do the top 10 movies of the year, and then on our channel, Comic Books Transformed, you and I do like our favorite out of everything that we've reviewed. Like this show, if we were covering it on Comic Books Transformed, this show would be very high on my list of things.
I'm gonna put it on the list anyway because I was here the whole time.
Boom! All right, there you go. Loophole it is. Yeah. Gentlemen, what else? What else is in this episode that we haven't discussed yet? I feel like we hit the main points. What? Yeah, go ahead.
I think we have to mention that amazing video that Chris sent us, where it's a behind the scenes moment where you see the actual actor in the full xenomorph costume, and then he's wearing, what is it, Adidas?
Adidas, yeah.
He's wearing fucking Adidas sneakers, which is amazing. That is like one of the greatest behind the scenes pictures I've ever seen, just because of how, because you don't notice it at first. I'm like, oh, okay, here's the actor, full costume, he's crouching down, he's ready, and oh my god, he's wearing fucking Adidas.
That was a really fucking great clip. Yeah, I was wondering kind of like what. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, like, we mentioned it in passing, but like, I do think one of the coolest things this show has done that is different from all the lore we've ever had in the Alien franchise is this crazy familial connection between Wendy and the xenomorph. From the time it was a right out of the chest bursting monster, looking like a snake, until a full-grown xenomorph. The fact that she's starting to understand the language. Like Nibs is like, "What did you?" Or the brother goes like, "What did you say?" I said, "Go in the bushes and hide." I think, like
right,
she's like literally starting to understand xenomorph language. Where did that come from? How does Wendy know that? Was there alien DNA in the creation of this synth, child? And I'm really, I really am digging that. I love the idea of like her almost like petting it on the head and like wiping the blood off of its like huge dome skull. You're sitting there and you're like, is the xenomorph cute? I don't know, but it's like really, it's something we've never seen before. Like they did that with the Predator in Alien versus Predator, where they were like, we're gonna turn the Predator into the good guy at the end of this movie, and he's gonna work with Sanaa Lathan, and he's gonna like, give her armor, and he's gonna mark her, and like, oh, now we're gonna root for the Predator, who for like 6 movies has been like this unstoppable killing machine, murdering everybody. So for that to finally happen for the alien, for the xenomorph, that is really interesting. And I've really liked the way they've done that evolution with Wendy and the xenomorph over the entire season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been so excited about. I'm sorry, Pete. I've been so excited about just seeing the pet alien concept that I haven't really thought about how it came to be. And I wish I was almost like wishing like, oh, maybe Kirsch did something that we haven't seen and something like that. But I just can't imagine how that's possible if they didn't have this information beforehand. Like this is the first time they're seeing the alien supposedly.
Right.
But then again, Boy Cavalier did contact that ship to get that information. So maybe they did know about it beforehand, and we just don't know that. Ultimately, what I'm getting at is I think Kirsch is kind of running more than we expect, and that's going to be the big shift here next episode.
Yeah, I think you guys though might be over complicating it or overthinking the connection, right? Because I think that what it comes down to is she fought the alien off screen when she was in that compartment and the door was closed, and then when you see her again, like stuff's leaking from her head. So I think that like she got pierced by the alien in some kind of way. And I think the very nature of the alien itself is that it's like interwoven with whatever it like bonds with, like the face hugger leads to the chest burster, and like what the creature is kind of based on the human host, right? She's not human at all, but I think that like the alien's skin or its presence and stuff just somehow got introduced to her coding or whatever, and it influenced in some way. Like I think all these creatures, they have like very specific ways of like doing things to your body, and I think that the alien physically did something to her body, not intentionally, but just like grappling with her. Because like in all the movies and stuff, it does that to humans, but when it does stuff to humans, they just fucking die, right? Because their bodies can't take the assault. Like I mean, we kind of see that with Nibs as well, because there's a couple of episodes where she's saying she's pregnant, and that has to be some kind of result of the eyeball doing something to her too, So I think that that's where it comes from.
So
I don't know though.
What if there's actually like an alien inside of Wendy?
Oh, that'd be kind of crazy. I don't know.
That's what's controlling her in some manner or affecting her brain like that. Because like you're right, we saw there was a lot that happened off screen with that fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting concept to kind of pick apart because it's always like, well, what can the aliens do to the synths, right? What can they do to these hybrid kids? Like, I didn't think that the eyeball actually impregnated Nibs, but obviously it had some kind of effect on her.
Yeah.
And then like all the alien creatures, they can do all kinds of fucked up things to humans and animals, but like what can they do to the synths? And I think what's really interesting, because we were talking about possible candidates for the eyeball. And I was like, what if Boy Cavalier's thinking that the eyeball could go into that other girl hybrid? Like, what if he put the eyeball in a hybrid? Would it work? Does it work with non-organic things?
Oh, the brunette one who's like been off screen most of the season. She's the one that like went to Mother and like, yeah, she was the one that was like, I want to be, I want to be the favorite. Yeah, Curly, I think her name is.
Right.
Yeah, so, I mean, clearly wanted to stay behind this episode when they were leaving. So
yeah. I could see that. So that could be interesting.
So that's a potential candidate. Like, it's just really interesting to me, like that nothing can really affect these hybrid kids, so they always kind of feel bulletproof. But then the one creature that can do something to them is the fucking fly. And I don't know if we talked about it on our show, but like I saw some behind the scenes stuff, and they were basically saying that like the flies live on a world where there isn't a lot of organic matter, so they're always eating like minerals and like metals and stuff. So that's why they were actually able to eat Isaac's face.
They digest it on the outside and then they consume it. Yeah. That was interesting. So yeah, I just had a really good thought and I lost. Oh, do we know how an alien queen is made?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry for talking so much, but like I think it's just like the way that bees work, where just like a random one is born in the whole bee fucking process, right? So like, you got the alien fucking process with the face huggers, and like, because in Alien 3, I'm pretty sure that Ripley has a queen in her, right?
Yeah, I think they do say something like that. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know, Danny. Do you want to add to that?
Well, no, but one of the things this went through my head when you were talking about Alien 3 before. Everyone else who gets face hugged, they the face hugging to chest bursting, once the face hugger falls off, it's not a long time. Like Kane, like was okay, went to breakfast, and the chest burster came out. Arthur woke up on the beach, and like within probably 20 minutes, the chest burster came out. In Alien 3, like Ripley is found and she's already been impregnated. The whole movie takes place. Days
Right.
go by, like maybe weeks go by before like that final scene of Terminator 2 style of her falling into the what is it, the molten
Smelting
steel.
pool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the alien bursts out and she holds it until she falls in. So maybe the queen takes longer to grow inside. Or maybe it's just a flaw because Alien 3 is a flawed movie. But yeah, I mean, when we first meet the alien queen in Aliens, it's just there, and it's kind of implied that she was always there. Like Ripley has that line in Aliens where she's like, "Well, what's laying these eggs?"
Right.
So like the eggs from the first movie, they were there, and the queen was off screen. They Kane got face hugged, they brought him on the Nostromo, and they left. Like, so they never investigated to find the queen, who might have been just down that hallway. So yeah, I kind of assumed it was just like a B process where like one is born and it dominates, and it can, the others help out. And we saw that again. We see that a lot in Aliens, where it seems like the there's like different genres of alien creatures. Like there's different forms of them. There's like the warrior ones. There's the ones who guard the queen. They listen to her. She like is telling them stay back. The bitch has a flamethrower. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that's what Marcy seems to be able to do. So like, what if she was, where there is a queen inside her, essentially, and
Or
what if it's something like it's not a biological thing that keeps the aliens, that gestates the aliens, where it's like a brainwave thing or something like that, and there's a human brain pattern in there in some regard. This is all spitball and hypothetical and probably bullshit, but I like to guess things. And if I'm magically right, it's like, yes, I'm smart, but I'm really not.
No, dude, I like it. I mean, that's one of the best things about watching a TV show, right? And having it in installments. It's definitely one of the best things about reading comics is that there's that delay in time before you get the conclusion. And so you're constantly thinking like, oh, they can go in this direction. They can go in this direction,
Yeah.
And so I don't know where the fuck this show is going to go in the finale. Like, it kind of blows my mind that there's just one episode left. I think that's kind of like one of the problems with, I mean, like I was just talking about how great this is, but the inverse is that with a show like this, they build up so many different things. There's so many different plot lines and characters that you're invested in. And then it's like, oh, well, we have to like resolve it all within an hour. Maybe it'll be an hour and a half. And I feel like there was so much buildup to so much stuff. And now it's like, oh, we're going to resolve all of this. It feels like it's not going to happen. Like my mom, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, you said like in terms of the length, there's been episodes that have been 90 minutes on TV, which, with commercials translates to about an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes. I mean, if you're talking about 70 plus minutes for a TV show, you're almost talking about a movie. And I was even thinking, like, when this episode ended, when we get to Tuesday and when I get home from work and when I check DVR, I really want to see an hour plus time. And what I'm dreading is like 48 minutes.
It's always happens. When you get that penultimate episode, the next one's always super short, and you're like, how? What? Why?
Yeah, wait, how are you going to resolve this in 37 and a half minutes with commercials? What are you doing? So I'm hoping. Also, we still don't know if it's been renewed for a season 2. Correct?
I don't think it's official, but I think that there was already uh, interest by FX in having more.
Okay.
And I know there's that I think Noah Hawley said that he has ideas for several seasons, I believe. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I was what do you call it? You know, I put the show on for my mom. She doesn't have Hulu, so I connect my computer to her TV and then like she watches the episodes and she's like way behind us. She's up to like maybe she's about to go into episode 5, I think. She's about to go into the episode where they're on the ship. Like it's all a flashback to the ship. And you know, in the episode she was just watching, like the sheep doesn't even have the eyeball in it yet. I'm like, oh my God, we've like come so far since then. You know, like so much stuff has happened since then. It's kind of crazy. But I mean, I gotta say, gentlemen, that I've fucking thoroughly enjoyed watching the show. I've enjoyed like when I post shit on TikTok about this show, I get like a legitimate response. Like people actively answer the questions and stuff. I'm digging that. And then of course I'm enjoying just talking to you guys about it too. Like, is there anything else you guys want to say about this last episode, or are we in the? Are we done?
all good.
Are getting 2 thumbs up, 4 thumbs up. Okay, nice. All right, well then it's time to do some promoting. Brian, you want to talk about what's going on Comic Books Transformed?
Yes, we are reviewing Peacemaker season 2 right now. We're basically a week behind, although I have watched everything up to now. So we're about to do episode 5, and this should be another 3 episodes after that too. And then there will be Gen V season 2 and Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, dude, I think Gen V season 2 is out already.
Oh no, wait. Oh man, was it this week? It should be it should be very soon. So maybe we have to
not to jump in on a Comic Books Transform conversation, but do you know that I never watched the last episode of last season's The Boys because it got so dark by like season 6 and episode 6 and 7, and I was like so like in a bad place like watching it that like I was like, I don't know if I want to watch the last episode. Like I don't like and so I guess I'll do that before I start the next season of The Boys. Hasn't started a new season yet, right?
No. This is Gen V. This is the spin.
Yeah, Gen V was good. I enjoyed Gen V though.
But the big elephant in the room with that is that one of the actors passed away in between seasons. And they had to rewrite. So I'm really curious how they're going to do that. And he was really
like a motorcycle accident, right?
Yeah,
that's awful.
Very sad.
Yeah. Well, so Mr. Torkel, what about the Lasser cast? What's going on there?
All right. So I posted a video a couple days ago. Last weekend, Charlotte and Athena and I did like a Brooklyn horror tour. We went to Williamsburg. On the same block in Williamsburg, they have a brand new horror themed bookstore called The Twisted Spine. A few storefronts down, they have an incredible physical media store called The Night Owl. It's like an incredible block for horror fans to be on. And I did a video kind of talking about those 2 spots, highlighting the stuff we got, and then talking about the awesome trivia event that I went to last Sunday, Final Exam Trivia. You could follow them on Instagram at Final Exam Trivia. And again, the Brooklyn Horror Society, they do a bunch of cool shit. So I did like this whole kind of like New York City horror community video that is really worth checking out. On Friday after work, I went to the city for a screening of, I believe it was the world premiere, or it was certainly a premiere of a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre documentary called Chain Reactions. This was done by Alexandre O'Philippe, a guy who we know very well because Pete, I think we covered Memory, Origin of Alien, which was a documentary. Yes, he did that documentary. He did 7852, which was a deconstruction of the Psycho shower scene. He even did, way back in the day, one of his first documentaries was The People versus George Lucas. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. I have not seen. He also did Leap of Faith, which was basically an interview with William Friedkin about The Exorcist. So he was there for the Q&A, which was hosted by the Final Exam trivia hosts, Michael Gingold and Ted Gagan. The Q&A was incredible. They went on for about 45 minutes, and I was recording. I got about 20 minutes of great recording until my thumb slipped and ended the video. So I am going to upload a review of the documentary, which was really entertaining, really enjoyed it. It's not a typical horror movie documentary. It's really 5 famous people and the impact that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre had on them, how they watched it, and what they think about it. It's Patton Oswalt, Stephen King, Karin Kasama, who directed Jennifer's Body, who I met outside the theater, incredibly nice woman. Who else? Alexandra Heller Nicholas, who's a horror movie author, a horror author from Australia, and and there's and Takashi Miike, the director of Audition, and it's basically like how the Texas Chainsaw Massacre affected them. So I'm going to do a review of that movie. I'm going to post the 20 minutes of the Q&A, so you're going to get 2 videos about that coming up probably later today or tomorrow on the Lacercast.
That's fucking
awesome. Took a while, but I got done with it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, why don't you do it today? Because I was gonna put this Alien Earth episode up tomorrow, Monday. You know what I'm saying? Dude, that fucking sounds awesome. That fucking documentary. Do you think it's gonna be on Shudder soon?
They said that they're going to be releasing it on Blu-ray, and it's going to be sold with different versions, different like formats of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So like, it's going to be chain reactions with, and then like you might get a 16 millimeter cut of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a 35 millimeter cut, like an old Australian cut, like a TV cut. Like they're doing like this big tie-in with obviously the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But it was so much fun hanging out Friday. It was like a lot of the horror community in New York City. I met John Carroll Lynch, who played Twisty the Clown, and he was in Zodiac. He was there. I met him outside. Karin Kasama. It was just a really cool event. And Alexander O'Philippe, who I've been a fan of for a long time, is a great interview. He's just a super fun guy to listen to talk about film. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's fucking awesome, man. You're a lucky dude. I wish I could kind of be doing stuff like that. Maybe I will in the near future. We'll see. But anyway, gentlemen, it's been a fucking pleasure. If you guys that have watched this all the way to the end, we love you. Thank you for doing that. Make sure that you subscribe to the Lacercast. You like this video, and join us next week where Danny will finally get his release from those alien blue balls. See y'all.